In this chapter, we are talking about the non-profit organization. Well, these days, there are so many non-profit organizations in our community, no matter where you are, like Girl Scout, Boy Scout, at government offices, and non-profit organizations, Salvation Army, and the universities and schools are also categorized into non-profit organization, largely even though we have a private universities. The issues of private organization these days are so important because our society consists of so many non-profit organizations. I think many of our students are aiming at getting into non-profit organization, including government office. Many of us, we believe that non-profit organizations are not functioning well, not as well as the private organizations. There are many reasons behind it. So far, that has been the case, but it's slowly changing. Even sometimes we have a better functioning non-profit organizations these days than the private organizations. One of the reasons that people are saying that the government office workers or non-profit organization people are slower than any private companies. One of the reasons is that the private organization, they have to respond to their customers kindly and swiftly, quickly. Otherwise, the customer will complain immediately, and your boss will admonish you, will give you ask for explanation. They need probably ask you to revise or do different to satisfy your customers. Why? Because the customers' reply and their satisfaction is directly relevant to their profits and revenues. Again, in any private organizations, if customers are dissatisfactory, and then their revenue and profit will be severely impacted immediately. I mean, the private organizations, private companies, private enterprises. But public organizations or non-profit organizations, the satisfaction of a customer is not that immediately impactful on your revenue and profit immediately. But that is why it takes longer time and non-profit organization workers are slower to respond to customers' complaints. Okay, so that's one of the fundamental assumptions and about what's going on. And another thing is the public organization is getting the money from their upper supervising organizations largely. Okay, the money, their expenses, their budgets are allocated by supervising higher offices or organizations. But private organizations, if they sell more, they have more budgets. So they are more motivated to market their products better, to sell more. It is simply because their budgets, their pay is directly related to the revenue increase or profit increase. But in non-profit organizations, even though the customers pay more, well, those revenues and profits will not directly reflected in their new budgets. Imagine this. For example, Seoul National University, any public university in South Korea, if they have a more number of students, more enrollment in their program, the more number of students doesn't mean the university will have a more budget. The budgets will be allocated by government, the Ministry of Education anyway. It is irrelevant to number of students in general, so that the workers of public universities not motivated by the number of students, but they're more motivated by how their upper organizing, supervising ministry is opinion. You know what I'm saying? So that is why, the public organizations are more swift and they're more quick to do their customers' response. But public organizations are not as quickly responding to the people's satisfaction. And in the same manner, so that the effective managers in non-profit organizations are the one who secure more budget from their supervising upper organizations. And the definition of effective managers in not-profit organizations is somebody who use up all the budgets that are allocated to their departments or their office. But the definition of effective manager in private organization is somebody who creates more profits, somebody who satisfies their customers more so that they get better revenue and better profits. Okay? So you see the difference between the two, the private organizations and the public non-profit organizations. The non-profit is they're more focused on getting more money from their supervising organization or headquarters. But the private company managers are doing their best to make more money, to generate more profits, and monetary achievements. You see such a fundamental difference between the two. For better performance of a public service institution, non-profit organizations, in fact, it's the same as the private organizations. First, you need to have a mission statement. The clear mission statement is a starting point of all good things. And then based on that, you need to have objectives and goals, right? And I talked about the importance of having the mission statement, and I think this is equally important to each of us individually. Without having your mission statement, and how are you going to be able to get there? There's somewhere that you really want to reach, right? And mission statement is your identity. It's what distinguishes you from other people. And then that probably award you kind of attractiveness because you are different, because you have clear goals and you know what you're doing. So that's what mission statement is about. And, you need to think about it often and have a right mission statement. And sometimes it doesn't come easy and early, but don't give it up. The second thing is you need to set priorities because, in our daily lives, there's so many stuff that we had to deal with. And one of the key things that you have to, keep in mind is setting the priority. Otherwise, if you begin doing things that are less important and doing the most important things at last, that simply will lead you in the wrong direction, right? And so setting the priority, as we all know, we're all aware of it, we're all aware, and it's such an important issue. And also we need to measure that. It's just like effective executives, the video, audio tape, whatever you listened to about a month ago for your midterm exam, that you need to measure your progress and have to figure out which things you are good at, what things you are slow at, and you need to distinguish that and focus on your strength. And then sometimes you need to put more efforts or endeavor into a certain things. And that's how you make yourself better. In terms of the organization, this is the same thing. And the and then the and when you evaluate your progress, your detailed objectives and your tasks and all these things. But in addition, you need to reassess your mission statement, your objectives and big picture goals consistently, because the only thing that doesn't change in our life is the fact that everything changes. So your mission statement also need to be reassessed and reevaluated, and to make sure that you are heading for the right direction. And it is the same thing for the nonprofit organizations as well. The successful nonprofit organizations, there are a number of organizations in our society. One of the examples is the Salvation Army in Florida in the United States. As you know that, anywhere in the world, including South Korea, that there's some juvenile delinquency. The youth crime is an important issue. The problem is that there are first-time criminals, right? So these people, the prisons or Ministry of Justice is having a hard time whether to put these guys into prison or not. The first-time criminals, right? Why? Because often when they were sent into prison, and they learn new ways of the crime. They meet with the people, other crimes in the prison, so they end up becoming a repeated criminals. So they're having hard time about what to do with these guys. And now the Salvation Army in Florida came up with a new idea, saying that send them to our organization. We will rehabilitate these guys and make them a better citizen in our community, right? And the Minister of Justice in Florida is having a hard time because of so many issues, including the monetary issues. They need to invest like 10 million or more than that every year to house these guys in prison. But Salvation Army says that with much less money, we will rehabilitate them and then make them a great ordinary citizen and send them back to our community. And they promise, and they're saying that they have a confidence. So every year, Florida State alone, 25 youth are not sent to prison, but they were sent to rehabilitation programs of Salvation Army in Florida, right? And they successfully turned these juvenile youth criminal into a sound citizen. The success rate is 80%. 80% of these guys end up finishing the rehabilitation course and program and later become a nice individuals and back to their society, and for the rest of their life they become the ordinary citizen, not repeating any crime. So monetarily, the Florida state is saving money. In addition to it, the number of criminals, the repeat criminals, are decreasing. And why is it happen? Why does it happen in here? The Salvation Army case is that they are so committed to their mission statement. That's where everything good thing starts from. They define their mission statement is to turn society's rejects, alcoholics, criminals, derelicts into citizens. That is so specific, and there's no bland mission statement. Everything is clear. And that's what they are aiming at. And everyone in that organization share the same goals and mission statement to their heart, right? And and also they began, they focused on not on themselves. They focused on the community and the customers, the youth, the youth crime, the criminals who are young, you know, so that they look at things from their standpoint rather than from the Salvation Army's standpoint, like whatever it is. Um, so, I mean, based on their mission statement, they came up with objectives and short-term goals and priorities and actions and programs. In addition, they recruited volunteers not because of any payment or any monetary rewards, but because of their commitment to make their society, commitment to making their society better, and the meaningfulness in their life. Like, they want to do something good to other people, or, the purposefulness. What kind of meaningful thing am I going to do? Purposefulness. All these things, they selected volunteers based on these criteria because they are not motivated primarily by money, but because of all these invisible, what is it? Like intangible purpose. They are more motivated and give more responsibility to all these volunteers and appreciate their their sacrifice or their dedication enough, and measure their progress and see what area they're doing well and what area they're lagging behind. And again and again, they redefine their jobs and remind them of their mission and continuously. So it became a model case of management in the US, even functioning better than most of private enterprises. So all these things combined, the Salvation Army became the textbook case study these days. So this indicates that it is doable for all organizations in our community, in this world. So one thing I want to make sure is that you need to motivate people, right? But before doing it, you need to have a clear statement and a mission statement for what you are here, right? For what your organization is here. Well, that's a beginning of good things. Again. So Salvation Army case is indicating that, volunteers are not paid, right? There's no, payment. I'm not sure that they get paid for their bus money. I mean, the bus transportation, but I'm sure that it may not be the case. The key thing is their satisfaction. Key thing is their sense of accomplishment, right? They clearly know where their happiness comes from, right? So emphasize that the Salvation Army managers are always aware of the importance of giving satisfaction to their volunteers. The feeling of the sense of achievement is prioritized to other issues, right? And also the all the volunteers letting the volunteer know what their mission is, what their job is, clearly indicating that, indicative of their job. You know, because all things are centered on on the mission statement. And in everything they do, they always goes back. If they have some problem interpreting what that is, then always goes back to their mission statement, right? And then find the right solution and get back to, to their work. And also, as I said, that they train more. The volunteers are not necessarily professionally trained for rehabilitating the criminals. So certainly there is a necessity of training the volunteers for the purpose. And management objectives, set the goal and get there, right? Measuring that, and also the accountability for performance, indicating that's a measurement, So, and again, in this case, we know that the importance of the mission statement as well as the motivation theory. You remember, I hope you remember what is that? The two-factor theory, Herzberg. So two-factor theory, meaning that people are not motivated by rewards, monetary compensation. People are motivated by work itself, an achievement, and the self-actualization, and purposefulness, and worthiness, meaningfulness, contributiveness. They're making a contribution to our community, to other people, like altruism. That's also evidenced in this Salvation Army case. 4 requirements for successful innovation in public service institutions. For successful innovation here, we talk about innovation in any organization, and anyone in our society need to be familiar with the concept of innovation, changing every year or keep changing to catch up with the fast-paced society these days. Number one, again, for innovation, you need to stick to your definition of mission statement. Okay, not bland mission statement. I'm saying specific, clear, easy to understand. Do you have one? And do you also revise it every 3 years and 4 or 5 years? Like when you were into a college a year ago or maybe 3 years ago, that did you have a new mission statement? And probably in the middle of your studies in undergrad course, and you might have to revise it and saying that, oh, this isn't good enough, which I made when I was a high school senior year student. Now I'm a senior year in college, and I think I have to update it with new ideas and innovative thinking. And the second is you have to set the goals that are attainable, the goals that are attainable, right? Doable, like within your reach. And it has to be practical, and it has to be, compatible with a real life situation. Not just based on theory or the textbook stuff that is irrelevant to our current life. And probe, meaning that investigate that those objectives. Why something's not achieved? Why some things are not doable, and that such things are not, the task was not achieved, and find it out. So the functionality is important, whether that's really attainable, or that is not practical, or that is impractical. You need to distinguish, with your measurement and the accountability for your performance. And also, you have to use other theories that are successful, the cases, and that other organizations successfully applied to their operation. You need to borrow these concepts and ideas Sometimes you need to, what is it? Take a look at it and learn from them, and and take these ideas into your organization or into your personal planning. It's a consistently learning here. Again, and this, when it comes to innovation, that we also, assure that the having a right mission statement is also the starting point. And I have one example here. This lady, the Celeste Headley, is an opera singer and the radio host in the U.S. And she's considered one of the most successful public figures in the U.S. And you know what? She says that until now, at the age of 50s, and she says she never thought about job titles. She's not focused on what type of job she's going to have. She only paid attention to her mission statement. Mission statement only. Can you imagine that somebody who's having a successful career says, I never thought of what type of job I'm going to be having, or I have never looked for a specific job titles in my life. But she says that the only thing she was focused on is my mission statement. Let's hear her story, if that's the true story or not. I will play, and if I can play here, playable.
Yes, radio show host and professional opera singer are two very different jobs. But in fact, the core mission of both of them is exactly the same. In both of those jobs, I'm reaching out to people, I'm communicating with people, I'm inspiring people, I'm moving people using only the power of my voice. So now, if I'm asked how I got where I am, I say, I found my mission and I forgot about the job title. Let me say that again, because that's the whole point of this entire talk. I found my mission, and I completely ignored what the job title was.
Can you imagine that? She said, I found my mission, and I completely forgot about my job titles. You see here? On the next page, I wrote what she said. The Celeste Headley says the importance of mission statement. She's mentioning about the importance of a mission statement. She said, I found my mission and I forgot completely about my job titles. So when you have a right mission statement, and then good things will follow, right? But that mission statement is made of her strength. Right? Your mission statement is closely related to your strength. So when you build your mission statement based on your strength, then good things will happen. All right? You need to hold on to your mission statement. If I say more specifically, that is made of your strength, not your weaknesses. And I think that's a beginning of your success story. And, in summary, to summarize today's topic, I think missions, in general, it says that the significance of mission statement, both for private and the nonprofit organizations. Today, I once again tell you that each of you need to have your mission sentences, a sentence, so that, your future will be always geared around that ideas consistently. And I think good things will happen, regardless of nonprofit organizations or profit organizations or individuals. I think this is a small secret that many people, successful people, have had in their career. And I think this is a great, the most important lesson that we learn in this chapter. And we see you on Monday, and I'm sure that I'm not going to be late again, no matter what happens, or we'll see you on Monday. Thank you.